Good afternoon. My name is Rich McPhillips. I love this meeting. Love to see you guys all here. And what I really like about it, I'm about 5 minutes from home. So when the meeting's over and I've got everything cleaned up, it's just real simple to do that. Again, Greg did an excellent job of preparing food. I want to thank my wife back there for taking names and so forth. Anyway, you're in for a treat, like I mentioned earlier with Todd Hoffman. He's from down by Junie out of Nebraska, has a lot of experience not only with farming, but a lot of experience using the AgriVantage system, which we're going to get to. But before we do that, I do want to spend a few minutes on the history of our company, where we come from. I'll show a picture here a little later of Francis Childs. He gave us a lot of notoriety back in the late 1990s, early 2000s, when he recorded his highest yield ever on his farm at 442. And that was dryland corn. That record still stands. And he's from over by Manchester, Iowa, and I'll show a picture of what his fields looked like then. Anyway, get my iPad back up here. You know, I think if you take a look at what the AgriVantage system is, and we'll kind of get into it, and Todd's going to really get into it. Over 50% on most years of the NCGA winners are using some or all of our system to help accomplish those yields. And the thing that I like to point out, the average farmer is probably not trying to set a 400, 500, 600 bushel yield for corn, but there's guys that are doing it. And the thing is, though, there's things that we can learn from those individuals and help us increase the yields, our average yield production, and that's what Todd's going to be sharing. More than the big yields are there, but the average big yields are much more prevalent. You know, I think right now, we know there's, farming is kind of tough. You know, I think that's not a secret. You know, with $4 corn, $8, $9 beans or whatever they're at on a given day, it's tough. And I think the one thing that I always tell people, watch. What I like about seeing the crowd here today is you're here to learn something. You're here to figure out, hey, is there a way I can still make a profit? And there is. But I think the thing is, a lot of times people look at the other side of the fence and they think it's greener over there. And what we try to do, don't be like this cow. Don't get hung up on the fence. You know, there may be something better over there, but don't get hung up there. The other thing is, we all have bad days. Now, do you think this guy might have a worse day if he keeps digging? And I think that's know where you're digging to, at least, if you're going to dig. You know, when we talk about having bad days or things could get worse, you know, a few years ago, Ben and I went over to Indiana, but we were driving in Iowa, and we took a look at the derecho had just gone through, and it just flattened not just a few acres, it was tens of thousands of acres. And that corn doesn't really come back real good at that stage. The other thing is, do you think maybe a new idea could save you a lot of grief? You know, I think if that crusader would have just took a few minutes to listen to the salesman that was at his doorstep, maybe he could have saved the battle a little, or made the battle a whole lot easier. The CONKLIN Company, we've been around. I hate to admit how long I've been with them. Ben and I are, you're going to start your 54th or 55th year. Your 55th year. I'm going to be starting my 54th. I know George is in the room here somewhere, back there. He got me started just shortly. He got started and he got me started shortly. And Dennis has been around a long time, some of the other guys. But our company's established. I really want to stress that we've been here, we're here for the long haul. We have 6 major divisions. Today we're going to spend the majority on the AgriVantage system. And what we do, where our company really started was with lubricant products. And I'll kind of visit a few slides on that. We are in the cleaning industrial business, or clean industrial type products. Got the AgriVantage system, building products, and I'll show just a few slides on that. Our Fast Track is a live microbial for livestock. And then we have our family care products. Here's a farmer that has Buddy Myers is over in Zanesville, Ohio. They just had a update on him. He's got over 37,000 hours on this tractor. Has yet to overhaul that 4020. Been using our lubricants pretty much the life of that engine. And you know, you take what is a normal overhaul, about 4,000 or 5,000 hours. He's going 5, 6, 7 times that. Ben, you're in the back of the room. I should have told you to be prepared. I'm going to call on you and kind of give us a little bit of history of this Suburban there, if you don't mind coming up here. Because that picture's outdated that I have up there.
What's it say? 930 or something?
Yeah, 930.
Yeah, and this, as Rich said, this was the original product division. I woke up this morning and thinking, boy, there's a lot of guys that are going to be glad they got CONKLIN lubes and 4Power and Fuel Mate in their vehicles today. We've got a product called 4Power that actually will ungel gel diesel fuel. Works great in gasoline. And the key to it, Rich, if you can keep a system, be it a crankcase, gearbox, cooling, whatever, if you can keep those systems extremely clean and extremely well lubricated, they'll basically last forever. And I bought that in '94. It's actually over 1 million miles now on the original engine. I mean, it's original, guys. Even the timing chain is still original. But convoy oil, Fuel Mate every tank. And I was figuring out the other day, you will get better mileage when you're running these products. And just the difference in the mileage by using Fuel Mate and Convoy, just the difference in the mileage from what they say the standard is. I saved over $40,000 just on mileage on fuel alone. Now that's 1 million miles, but most of us will drive 1 million miles in our lifetime at least. You know, I did it in a little less time, but the products really are amazing. We could be here for 3 hours telling you the stories on what these lubricants do. I hope you all use them because they'll save you a pile of money. Rich.
Hey, thanks, Ben. Appreciate that. And when Ben says it'll save you a pile of money, I've driven 4 vehicles over 500,000 miles when I got rid of them. So, now I got to log back on here. Jim, I didn't say I was going to call on you. One of the things when Ben was talking about the 4Power, Jim, you brought this to us just a few months ago on your tractor. Can you just kind of tell us what you've seen with that? Maybe come up here so we got you on the microphone so everybody can hear you. I want you to give a quick story on what it's done for on this tractor.
Did I run over here? Are you okay? Yes, should I not put it out there?
Did he try to trick you?
I think so.
Okay.
He knows, I know him.
Hey, give us a little history of that tractor, Jim.
Well, this tractor got to where it didn't want to start right away when I go to start it. But I found out I could turn the key on, wait 2 or 3 minutes, and it would finally go. I have found out that this particular model does have that problem once in a while. But I decided, well, I'll keep the thing. I can turn the key on, wait 2 or 3 minutes, so it primes up. Put a new fuel pump on, that didn't help. That was $1,000. Didn't do a thing. But anyway, I got thinking one day, maybe 4Power would help out here. So I doubled the strength. And so one day, all of a sudden, it starts the minute you turn the key on. So we cleaned something up. The thing was, the mechanic thought I could fix the tractor so it'd start like it should if I put a new injector pump on it now. After putting the fuel pump on, which didn't help, and I'm not gonna spend. It was $7,000, but you know that was 2 years ago, and so now with labor and the pump, we figured it probably cost $9,000. So anyway, 4Power solved the problem. It starts up like it should now. We cleaned something up in that injector pump. It was just losing its prime. And so, save some money.
That's a pretty good return on your investment there, a few dollars
I think so.
for 4Power.
I'm gonna go around. I'm not gonna chance it.
I wouldn't trust Gary either. Like I mentioned, Fast Track, we won't get into that, but it's a live microbial. Any of you guys that are calving, make sure you get a hold of the Fast Track. What it can do for baby calves is just unbelievable. We do have a line of building products. I like to show this picture. We did a roof out in Scottsbluff, Nebraska. That's in the background there. And we were out there doing that job, and it was like 95, 98 degrees. And we just got off a job around here, and it was 95, 98 degrees. We went out there, and we didn't take breaks, and the guys out there are just wondering, what the heck are you guys doing staying up on that roof? Well, there's no humidity out there. Back here is real humid. But this is one of guys we worked with. That shows you the finished job. But we've done a lot. I have one company we've done over 600,000 square feet of roof for. George is on I think every square foot of that with me. So some good products there. One kind of a local one, you guys might recognize this up in Humphrey, Nebraska, the John Deere building. Now here's a product that I just want to have you guys think about. Have any of you ever had burns or a family member get burned? Or have anybody that got some pretty severe cuts? Take a look at that hand there. And by using our cellular energy, it's in our LifeTrack product division, it can really make a difference. I'm going to skip over to this one because I personally know this story. I was talking to a friend of mine down in the Panhandle of Texas, and he called me up, or I called him, and he was talking about, we were kind of visiting, and he was talking about a friend of his, if I can get back here and get this. Oh boy. I want to show, that's what it looked like. This kid bailed out of a pickup at 40 miles an hour because he was going down a steep hill in Canadian, Texas. I know exactly where it's at. And there were semis coming and his brakes had failed, so he bailed out at 40 miles an hour. Well, you can see how he got kind of a pretty good road rash. And here's what it looked like on the left there. What it looked like several weeks after, 2 weeks after the accident yet. And I told Gary about it. Well, they overnighted some cellular energy there, put it on as a paste over that burn, and that's what it looked like 2.5 days later. It really speeds up healing. Oops, sorry there, Stan. I'm not going to get in depth in it, but if you're planning an accident sometime, you better try to have some of that product on hand. My son-in-law was here at Christmas time, and we had, you never cut meat, especially frozen meat or something, with a dull knife. Well, he found that out. He sliced both. I do have the pictures. I need to make a testimonial about that. And he's a nurse. He was pretty skeptical, but within 2 days, he could hardly tell he cut himself. Just makes a huge, huge difference. So the next time you're planning an accident, make sure you got it around. The other thing, Steve Pellets, where you at, Steve? He's back there. We did a meeting for him a while back, and he's telling me when he invests in Conklin products, he feels for every dollar worth he spends with Conklin, he gets $5 back. And has anybody got a dollar bill on them? Who's got a dollar bill? Somebody's got to have a dollar. Yeah.
You take a credit card?
I don't take credit cards. Here, you can take that.
Gladly.
I got $2, Rich.
That is exactly what happened at Steve's meeting. It took him several minutes before somebody to dig out a dollar. When they did, Steve gave him that dollar, and guess what happened? Everybody in the room was pulling out not just dollars, but fives and tens, and one guy pulled out 100. Give me my $500. No, you were too late. So I kind of like that demonstration. It just kind of shows you what our products can do for people. We build our AgriVantage system, and that's where I'm going to spend the next couple minutes before I get Todd up here. We build it off good soil tests. We happen to use Midwest Labs, like what they do. They're tied in with us to where they can make recommendations and everything. We've had, I know Jason over here, you use Corey Overlander out of North Dakota. And we've had him here to do several seminars, and he gets into a lot of information. We'll have a program next week, a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, February 10th through the 11th, I believe it is that right, Todd? 10th and 11th, in Lincoln. We call it our Pro Ag 1 program, and Denny Damon developed this years ago. Some of our other guys have taken it over, but we get into how to read a soil test, how to do a lot of things, how to understand what all those numbers mean. Like Corey tells people, the way you read a soil test is you start with the pH. You start with the organic matter. He finally, as you get down, you get your cation exchange, your base saturation. He gets down to the nutrients. What's your phosphorus? What's the levels? What's your potassium levels, and so forth. You'll get to understand what the relationship of what's the best pH for the nutrients that are in your soil. I'm not going to cover all of that. I'll let Todd hit a little bit on that. And then our Pro Ag 1, I'll just really, really encourage, if you can break away, it might be the best 2 days you invest, not just this year, but the rest of your farming career. And like Todd, when I get farmers, I got farmers that the more they trust the program, the more they come back to the program, the better they do with the program. And, it's like nitrogen, it's active at 50 degrees. Phosphorus, 65 degrees. Potassium, 7 degrees before it starts to hydrolyze in the soil and become available. And what that kind of means, a lot of guys, you put on phosphorus, you put on a good starter, like ours, in furrow, it's working, ours is working at below 50 degrees. It takes about 65 degrees soil temperature, the phosphorus in the soil, to become available. Take the potash, it takes 70 degrees. Well, when does the soil hit 70 degrees? When you guys plant April 15th or April 20th. You need twice as much potassium in that first 25 days as you do need phosphorus. So you may think you have enough potassium, but if it's not available, it's not available. We get into foliar feeding, and what I like to tell people, we show you the best time to foliar feed, but probably more importantly, we'll show you the times you shouldn't foliar feed. And there is timing for that. Here's the picture I talked about, Francis Childs. That's 42,000 plants per acre. Francis told us, he says the rabbits have to run down, on 30-inch centers have to run down to the end rows and turn around and get across. Ben, I was standing over his shoulder when he took this picture of Francis over there, and he's deceased now, but take a look at that root mass. Is that what your root mass is looking like in your field? He took a backhoe, dug it down, washed the soil away. But now I noticed the last few years, everybody's talking about the root mass. I see where Beck's at Husker Harvest Days and at other shows, they have these cages where they plant one kernel of corn and just show how massive that root mass is. That's what's going to make you yield. The bigger that root mass, the stronger that root mass, the more you're going to increase your yields. Wax was our first original ag product. Still was very, whoop, I went too far. Get back here just there. And it increases the root mass. We talked about that. I remember guys saying, well, when I can start selling corn roots, then I'll start buying your wax. So, but you really do get to sell, the yield will increase. Beck Seeds, we've done a lot of testing with them, and they have given 6 of our products our approval on their products there. And again, there's the poster over there, and we can get you that additional information. Amplify is one of our other products that I think every farmer should use. And you should use it on your corn, your milo, your alfalfa, not necessary on soybeans. But it will increase the mass of the roots. Jim, this is one of your planters from Husker Harvest Days a few years back. And what was impressive, not only after the show, what I found impressive is the size of that root structure. And kind of with that, I'm going to just show a quick video of what it can do if it comes up for me. Come on. If it don't, I won't show it. Gonna have to listen closely, my microphone won't pick that up.
Application can significantly increase the power of your hybrid corn seed. This product will work on any type of crop other than soybeans. It is a seed applied application. Either as a dry seed treatment that contains a talc carrier or as a liquid applied material through a liquid seed treatment. In the case of corn, 1.5 to 2 ounces per bag of seed is all that's needed to ensure that there's a high energy source of fertility surrounding the seed. In this case, the components contain nitrogen, phosphorus, high energy phosphorus, known as AMP, adenosine monophosphate, which during germination changes to ADP, adenosine diphosphate, and then ATP, adenosine triphosphate. The energy source is the growth of every cell in your body and every cell in this corn plant. This material also contains zinc, magnesium, iron, and manganese, micronutrients as well. What happens is as the seed takes on moisture, swells, and draws in this additional source of energy, it gives us energy to allow that seed to germinate more quickly, germinate with more seedling vigor, and be able to produce a higher mass of plant and root system early on in the growth period. You can see in this 4-week trial, the difference was significant at a cost of less than $4 per acre in treating this corn at a plant population of 35,000 plants per acre.
Is this the one?
Hey, Rich, who's with you?
The famous Dennis Nunn.
You wanna stand up there?
Okay, we're back online here. I'll get back to finish up a couple slides and then we'll have Todd up here. Todd's gonna talk about soil health. This is a guy that we worked with. Jim got him started out in Scottsbluff, Nebraska, Melbeta, Nebraska, actually. And this is just kind of showing when he took a spade full of dirt, you can see the earthworms, but you can also see the size of the root even before the corn got out of the ground. His son Kobe, this is a few weeks later, look at the length of that root. And Dan said they broke off a lot of roots getting that out of the ground. And that's probably maybe a month old plant, maybe just a little more. Some of his fields for NCGA, now he's at Scottsbluff, Nebraska. He has raised over 300 bushel for NCGA. The first official yield in Wyoming at Torrington, one of Dan's guys out there has broke 300 bushel in Wyoming. So I mean, the program works everywhere, even at high altitudes, low humidity. They're just showing him when he's harvesting. By the way, this was just a couple days later. That night on October 4th, they had a frost, and a couple days later, he was harvesting it. We got a couple goals here, and maybe more than that. We want to reduce your input cost, and we can talk about that, and we want to increase your yields. But I think Todd brings out a more important thing. What is your cost per bushel for whatever you're doing? Can I make money at 300 bushel corn, or am I better off at 200 bushel corn? Where is my profit margin? And he'll kind of share some things there. And I'll just finally finish up with Kel's story. He came to a program like this a lot of years ago. I met him at NCGA, and he's in Nebraska. They farm about 8,000 acres, about 4,000 corn, 4,000 acres of beans. And his farm average on corn was about 242 before he started on a program. A few years later, it was at 278. That's corners and everything on his pivots. And his beans were about 65 bushels or less. They're 87 bushels. And Todd, I'd like to thank you for all the efforts you visit with them guys for me too. So with that, Todd, I'm gonna have you come up. You're the main guy here today. You're gonna share some things. Guys, take notes. This guy's got 20 plus years, or almost 20 years of experience with our program. He has a lot to share. He'll talk about soil health. He'll talk about raising great yields, and he's got the personal experience on his 2,000 plus acre farm. So with that, Todd, appreciate that.
Let's give Rich a round of applause.